Yo, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me do this for the Ross clap. This man's got more debate wins than Super Hot Fire's got freestyle wins. All right, cool. We're in here. Yo, while you may say two bombs, I disagree. Derek Chisora is one fight away from once again being a top 10 globally ranked fighter. I don't know what it is. This dude is like a gatekeeper where the gate strikes back. He has, throughout his entire career, been beat on the biggest of nights, but manages to not let people walk through that gate. He slams shut on them and knocks them out. Every fight Chisora's in, people struggle whether they beat him or not. The only person that has truly ever beat Chisora decisively and pretty easily is Tyson Fury. Everybody else is in for a long night with him. Every single person that fights him. So while he has a hell of a lot of losses, dude's got a hell of a lot of good wins. And he's only got 2 fights left. So he's going to fight Otto Wallin. And then once he fights Otto Wallin, I believe he'll be right there around the top 10 again. And by the way, I believe it's February 8th. I think that was the date. I should have looked that up before I went live. It is on February 8th. I was correct. All right, I was correct. And you know what? I like Chisora. I love Chisora. Chisora is the definition of a fighter. Win, lose, or draw, he's coming for you. It does not matter. He does not back down. He gives us his all every single round. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Derek Chisora's biggest downfall has always been his gas tank for the way that he fights. If Chisora had an amazing gas tank, he would be very hard to beat because he could take a hell of a shot and he'll keep coming forward. You hit him 3-4 times, he's going to hit you 3 or 4 times. He doesn't slow down. He doesn't back off. He just keeps coming. So, like I said, if he had a better gas tank, and truth be told, I thought he looked his best underneath David Haye. Whenever he signed with David Haye and David Haye was training him, I thought physique-wise, physically, that was him at his best in his old age. Let me see. When Usyk first moved up, I said Chisora should be his test at heavyweight, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Out of all these heavyweights, Chisora did the best. Nobody has fought Usyk better than Chisora. Nobody. Chisora gave Usyk the hardest fight at heavyweight. Now, I say that. I still believe Tyson Fury won, right? I believe Tyson Fury edged the fight. Even with the knockdown, I thought Tyson Fury should have won. But Usyk had an easier time at times against Fury than he did against Chisora. From the first round to the last round against Chisora, I think it was a 10-round fight. It was a war, like his name says, War Chisora. It was a war from the beginning to the end. Chisora never let off, never let him off the hook. And truth be told, in my opinion, and I don't understand why the other boxers don't do it, Chisora showed the blueprint of how to beat Usyk. He literally showed the blueprint. And none of these guys want to do what Chisora did. None of them have gone in there to maul him. None of them have gone in there to beat him down. None of them will go in there just to hit him. Not worried about points, not worried about scoring, but hit him on the shoulder, the bicep, the forearm, the elbow, the side, on the belt line, the hip. Like, nobody has fought Usyk like Chisora since Chisora. And I believe if any of these big dudes fight him, and it might be harder now because he's more acclimated to heavyweight, you could beat him. Literally, just go hit him. But, yep, 10 rounds, but that was Usyk as a knock. Yeah, like I said, he had fought, Chaz Witherspoon, and then he fought Usyk. Why did I say he fought Usyk? He didn't fight himself. He fought Chisora. But I like this fight right here. Otto Wallin versus Derek Chisora, because in my opinion, Otto Wallin, as bad as he got beat up by Anthony Joshua, and it was embarrassing. I thought Otto Wallin would actually be a good fight I thought he'd actually put up some type of effort to win. I didn't think he'd be pushed over that easily. So at 34 years old, this is really a crossroads fight for him, because if Derek Chisora beats him, kind of like he beat Joe Joyce in his last fight, you're done. You'll never have a shot at being a titleist. It's over. You ain't got enough time left. Just like Joe Joyce. As much as I like Joe Joyce, the biggest mistake they ever made was making him come in light against Zhilei Zhang in the first fight, and that ruined him. He's never recovered. So we're gonna see what happens in this fight. We're gonna see how well Otto Wallin can handle the pressure, because you got to think. What I also like about this fight too is they both fought last year in July. One on the 26th, one on the 27th. I'd have to look at box rate. I looked earlier, but yep, 27th, 26th. So they both fought in July, 1 day apart. So both men are just as fresh as the other man. They're both as fresh as the other. So nobody has an advantage in activity. The only difference here is Otto Wallin only went 1 round in his comeback fight, whereas Chisora, he fought Joe Joyce to a decision in a 10-round fight. So if it goes the duration, which I believe it will, I don't think Otto Wallin is going to knock out Derek Chisora. Then I really believe that Chisora has the advantage the later it gets into the fight, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard for Otto Wallin, because you got to figure whenever he fought Anthony Joshua, it only went 5 rounds. That was what? It'll be 2 years have passed by the time he gets into the ring with Chisora, I believe. Because I think he fought AJ, in like December of 23? Oh, and not quite. It'll be a year. So in a year's time, a little over a year and 2 months, this dude has only had 2 fights. One went 5 rounds where he got stopped or quit, whatever you want to call it. And then he had another fight where it only went 1 round. In over a year. He's only had 6 rounds in over a year. Whereas Chisora, in the same time frame, has gone 20 rounds to decision and coming off 2 wins. So I think it's a very good fight. Like I said, I had a lot of hopes for Otto Wallin, but sometimes it's just a spark in the pan, and that's what it was. He had a good performance against Tyson Fury, but since then, he hasn't lived up to what he looked like he could have. And at 34 years old, if he don't win this fight, it's over, in my opinion. He ain't skilled enough to be a 40-year-old coming back. Oh, Chisora's got the best resume in all of boxing. Hands down, period. If we just go off of names, because you got to understand, Caballero, he lost to him, but he fought for Caballero when Caballero was on the come up and nobody knew who he was. So Caballero is like really the dark horse of the heavyweight division right now. And you got to think, Chisora fought him way back. So, like, if you go through the names, like I said, I would have to get on BoxRec, but like off the top of my head, you got he fought Tyson Fury 3 times. I remember that. He fought Parker, beat him the first time and got robbed, lost the second time. He lost the second fight, but the first time he beat him and got robbed. There's no doubts in my mind, nobody had changed my mind, that he did not get robbed against Parker. He had his rematch with Pulev. He beat him. Who else did he fight? He fought Usyk, who we brought up. Lost, but gave Usyk a run for his money. Remember, he beat the hype job in David Price. He fought Dillian White twice. Now, I will say this. Dillian White, everybody knows I like Dillian White. Dillian White's a dog, and I love a dog. However, in that first fight, once again, Chisora was robbed. Because I have to be honest. Chisora beat Dillian White in the first fight. He beat him in the first fight. Just like in the Parker first fight, he was robbed. He was robbed. Plain and simple, he was robbed in that first fight. I'm trying to think. Who else did he say? I said Pulev. He fought him twice. Lost the first time. Came back and avenged his loss. He lost. Oh, he fought Klitschko. How did I forget about Klitschko? I brought up David Haye earlier, who was his manager trainer. You know, he lost to David Haye as well. David Haye like sparked him. But I'm trying to think who else, big names. And I was just brought some food. This is going to get interesting while I try to talk and eat on these chicken wings at the same time. At the same time. And I think there's like miscellaneous fighters he's fought too. Like I think he fought Spilka. I think he fought Hellenius. You know, I didn't bring up Gerald Washington, but you know, there's names that he beat that are known names, but they're not really like top tier fighters. But from top to bottom, there's nobody in the heavyweight division that's got a better resume than Derek Chisora. Win, lose, or draw, just off of pure names. And we brought up Joe Joyce too. I don't even know if I mentioned him, but we brought him up earlier. Like, yeah, he beat Malik Scott. I forgot about that. Oh man, Malik, I like to take a dive for Deontay Wilder. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna see if I have any lemons because I want to put some lemon juice on these chicken wings. All right, I am back. I have bad news for everybody. I did not. Oh, I do not have lemon juice for my chicken wings, but it'll be okay. I digress. No, I said Klitschko. I brought up Klitschko. You must not have heard me whenever I was going through the list. Yeah, I brought him up because I brought up Klitschko, and then I said he got sparked by David Haye. But yeah. I need somebody else to hop on this panel. I need somebody else to hop on this panel to help me hold it down while I eat. But I like this fight. I really do like this fight. I hope and I want to see Derek Chisora win because if Derek Chisora wins, he could get in another big fight. Now, he says he wants to retire at 50. I believe this will be fight 49. So, tackle. I forgot about tackle. Bro, the more we talk about Chisora, the better that resume gets. Like, he got a resume like he was bodybuilding. Weights on weights on weights. Yeah, and he beat Tackle when Tackle was still pretty decent. So yeah, forgot all about Tackle. That's the one name that we forgot about that was actually a really good fighter. I cannot believe I forgot about him beating Tackle. He knocked his ass out. I cannot believe I forgot about that. Straight forgot about it. But that's the difference in like Chisora and other fighters. Yeah, he fought on Pulev twice. He lost the first time, beat him the second time. But, you know, whenever he beat him the second time, Pulev was old. But at the same time, Chisora's old. Chisora lies about his age, though. I believe he lies about his age. Just like I think Tyson Fury lies about his age. Chisora's allegedly only 40, but he been 40 for like the last 10 years. Because Chisora was the oldest looking 30-year-old I ever seen in my life. Like, he came with a Cuban birth certificate. Just like Tyson Fury. I don't believe that dude is the age that he says he is. Tyson Fury looks at least 46. He looks at least 46 years old. Like, I'm telling you. You know them two lying about their age. There's no way. There's no way. I need a time machine to go back to when they were born because I don't believe it. I don't believe they're as old as they say they are. Because Tyson Fury is allegedly 36 years old. Allegedly. Is there anybody in here that truly believes he's only 36 years old? Now, I do know he did drugs. And I know he's blown up in weight, lost weight, got big in weight again. That can affect your aging, but I don't think you'd age that bad. I really don't believe. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. He says those knees tell me he's not 36. I mean, the drugs can really do it to you. It brings me up to another point. You ever seen like a crackhead that you could tell she used to be pretty back in the day before she was on drugs? I seen one the other day. And like in the shadow, you can see glimpses of what she used to be with the shade until she stepped into the light. Bruh, you could tell that this girl used to be a baddie, like bad. And then fucking drugs got a hold of her. Mm-mm-mm. That could have been what happened to Tyson Fury. That might be why he looks so old. But you're right. He do got them dry ass knees. Over there looking like the damn Tin Man needing some WD-40 on it. I'm a fat man. But I will tell you this. There was a lot of bodybuilders around the world that were happy that the fat man finally lost. I'm a fat man. Look at me. Fat man, please go. You lost to a fat man. You over there, you lifting weights. You bodybuild. You lost to a fat man. Yo, Klitschko can never beat Fury because Fury had already won before they got into the ring. He psychologically destroyed that dude. And I miss that Fury. I miss the old Fury that would come in a Batman costume to a press conference. Look at Sports 129. Nah, fam, Fury 36. That's what I'm saying. Like, that dude at least 44. At least 44. I don't believe it. I was talking about Chisora's age. There ain't no way Chisora's 40. I'm telling you, I swear. 10 years ago, Chisora was 40. 10 years ago. So there's no way he's 40 today. Just like Tyson Fury. I don't believe he's 36. He the oldest damn 36-year-old. Oh, it's Shovin. What's good? Hey, you can hop on the panel if you want to. Let me drop this one more time. I'm trying to eat this chicken, and I'm doing a lot of talking. And if you want to hold down the panel with me and talk so I don't have to, so I can chew my food, be much appreciated. Speaking of Shovin, yo, if you haven't checked it out, y'all go over there, check out Ultra Tech's channel. I occasionally go over there. Bruh, why you bringing up old Naki? Why you bringing up old Naki? That man was left beaten and battered in the ring with his wife crying. Like, let's leave old Naki in the past, all right? Like his age. Let's leave him in the past, all right? I hate that dude. We're not even going to get into my rant about old Naki. The audacity of that man to call him a babyface. The audacity. That man looked older than a fucking newborn English bulldog. Like, how you got all them fucking wrinkles? You 22 years old and you look like you 62. A fucking Benjamin Button baby right there. Like, get the fuck out of here. It blows my mind the number of fans that don't understand fighters and their management lie about their age. I mean, I believe they do, my dude. Like, I ain't never seen a 36-year-old that looks as rough as Tyson Fury. But again, it could be the drugs. It definitely could be the drugs. Could have been the drugs. Because Tyson Fury be shaking like there's an earthquake underneath his feet. Like, he always be twitching. That motherfucker be licking his gums like, what's that promoter's name over there in the UK? Callum? Or Khaled? That one dude, the white dude, Khaled, I think that's his name. He always be jittery and have the craziest thumbnails. I can't think of his name. It's like Callum something with an S. That's how Tyson Fury is. That man just be jittering. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to eat this food. I'm starving. I'm hungry. I got these muscles that need to be fed. And I keep asking somebody hop on the panel, talk so I don't have to. Tony, how you going to run a panel, but you don't want to talk? It's your show. Well, sometimes you got to eat food. And God damn it, I'm hungry. Hey!
What's going on, homie?
What's going on, Chef? How you doing?
No, it's funny you said eating. I'm actually eating one of my prep meals now. I grilled some chicken and some cauliflower rice on the grill a few days ago. I am tearing it up.
Hey, may the chicken bring us together because I'm eating chicken wings right now.
Same here, brother. Same here, homie. No, it's funny to me, man. I'm a fan, obviously, of boxing and various sports, and a lot of reality TV shows. Any kind of like reality TV show that's like a competition base, Survivor, Big Brother. I can watch. A ants race as long as it's a competition, right? So every time I bring up any kind of accusation towards any fighter or management company, I remind boxing fans usually actually understand this notion that fighters, their management, their promotional company, and sometimes the networks, they know fighters lie about their ages. It's been going on for 50 years in the sport of boxing. But UFC fans are the ones that actually don't understand it. Anytime I'll explain this, listen, man, that girl's not 27 years old. What? What you mean she's not 27? UFC says she's 27. And I said, let me explain something to you guys, okay? And MTV said that Paulie D from Jersey Shore was 25 when he was 32 years old on Jersey Shore, okay? Because now he's 44. And if you do the math, you'll see the guy was 37 years old when he was on that show in the early years. This is what television does. Because in Hollywood, when you're in your 30s or your 40s, you are pretty much eradicated from a certain target demographic, and they can't market you to young people. So networks lie about their ages. And what happens is once people get to a certain age in their 40s or their 50s, Luis Ortiz, it's to a point where it's like, okay, this guy or this woman, obviously, man, you can always lie about their ages when they're 31, 32. But then they get to an age where it's pretty obvious they aren't the age they say they are currently, which means they were never the age that the network or the promotional company said they were. Give you an example. There was a girl, for all my Big Brother fans out there, her name is Christmas. She was on Big Brother a few years ago. And they were trying to promote her because she was like the only female pit crew member for NASCAR. And so Big Brother CBS brought on the network, and she was a pit crew member for NASCAR, the only woman on the circuit. And she kind of blossomed or became a big deal, a little bit later in her career. She was around 38, 39 years old when this happened. Big Brother, CBS, okay? CBS is probably one of the biggest television networks, not just in America, but in the world, okay? So you better believe CBS knows, before they put you on their network, they know how old you are, where you were born, your mom, your dad, your grandma. They know everything about you before they put you on television. That's all these major networks. Because they want you to have to insure you to make sure you're not a liability to their network. So they know how old these people are, okay? And CBS, one of the biggest networks in the world, they had her age on the screen every time the episodes would air. Christmas, only female NASCAR pit crew member, 33 years old. Meanwhile, the girl was 39, okay? And some fans who obviously knew her was like, that girl's not 33 years old. And they said, nah, who knows? It's just, it's gossip, blah, 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 hearsay. Well, after the season was over, she actually got arrested. She got DUI. And when you get DUI, you got to show your license. And these fans, these shows are ruthless. And her arrest record popped up, and it showed her date of birth, and showed that she was really 39 years old. Now, I would argue, people say, dude, do you guys think CBS didn't know how old she was? It's CBS. It's a $1 billion company. They knew how old she was. They were lying about her age. So if promotions and networks of that size lie about their talent's age, you better believe DAZN and ESPN and HBO and Showtime and PBC and Top Rank and all these other organizations lie about fighters' ages, because the younger they make a fighter, i.e. F.A. Jagba, who's not, what's his fake age? 30, 31 years old? There's no way in hell F.A. Jagba's not 36, 37 years old. But they know the younger, they list him at 30? Yeah, ain't no way in hell. They know that the older you list a fighter, the shorter career he's going to have, because they can't promote him for that long, because you can't sell him to a certain age demographic. Same thing with reality television. The same reason they had people thinking that Mike the Situation and Paulie D from Jersey Shore was 25 when they was running around MTV. Those guys were in their 30s on that show. because obviously now they're so old they can't lie anymore. They're like,
Oh, your sound went out. Hey, Chef, if you can hear me, your sound went out.
1 second. How about can you hear me now?
Yep, you good. You good. You good. Keep going.
Yeah. So I was saying, you look at now, guys like Paulie D and Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore, they're open about their age now because obviously they can't hide it anymore because how old they look, and they're very successful. And they're rich, so they don't care, nor should they care. But if you do math, so hold on for a second. And Paulie D's 44. If that guy's 44, that means 10, 12 years ago on the show, that guy was in his 30s. But MTV had you telling you there was the young, hot, cool 20 somethings from Jersey Shore, but they weren't. They were older guys. So I say that to say the biggest networks in television in the world lie about their talent's age. You better believe the smaller networks, i.e., in boxing, are lying about fighters' ages.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Like, I'll give you a case in point right now.
Mhm.
Up and coming from the Olympics, Andy Cruz. Ain't no fucking way that man's 29 years old. I ain't never seen a 29-year-old look as old as Andy Cruz. Like,
It's funny you brought up Derek Chisora. I remember there was an interview Dylan White did about 4 or 5 years. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, and him and Dylan beefing back and forth right before they had their second fight, and Dylan was like making fun. He said, "Listen, man, he's an old man. You got lies about his age. He's a lot older than you guys think he is. I know his real age. I know his people. He's a lot older." And Dylan White was saying that Derek Chisora was almost 40 5 years ago.
that's what I'm saying. That motherfucker been 40 for 10 years.
Yeah, Derek Chisora about 47, 48 years old.
Yeah, he up there. He way up there in age. Way up there in age. He's so old that they ain't even updated his box rack picture. Like, they don't want to update his picture on box rack because of how fucking old he looks.
It's no news to me. I mean, I'm no news to you as well. We've been watching boxing and just sports overall. Now, in the team sports, NFL, NBA, things like that, those guys, we follow their careers. I played high school and college basketball. I've been playing basketball all my life. And because what happens is we play AAU in high school and college sports, obviously our careers are followed by the industry via AAU, via college, since we're 15, 16 years old. So lying doesn't take place in those sports. But in individual sports, like Olympic sports, absolutely. Those girls.
Well, hold on now. They be lying like a fuck with NFL players because I've met them in real life. Like, they be talking about dudes are like 270, 280. You meet them in real life, they're 230.
Oh,
like
yeah. They lie about their weight. They do lie about their weight, yeah.
Weight and height so bad, it's crazy.
NBA too. NBA was saying Charles Barkley was like 6'9" for I don't know how long. Charles Barkley's about 6'5", 6'6".
What's going on, Electro Jed? You can hop on the panel if you want to.
But yeah, you're right about that. They lie. They just don't lie about their ages because their careers get followed since they was 13, 14 years old. But you see it in any kind of combat sport. Any combat sport, another sport they do it also. What's the other sport? Olympic skating, ice skating. Those little girls in gymnastics. Oh, she's a phenom. The 14 in my ass. The girl's like 19, 20 years old.
Oh, yeah, China got caught lying with one of their gymnasts. She was like in her 30s, and they was trying to say she was like 16.
Really? I barely remember that.
Yeah, like they be lying like a fuck all over the place. Anything for an advantage.
Yeah, I be telling people, I said, listen, Derek Chisora is not no 40 years old. Joe Joyce is also not. What's Joe Joyce's fake age? 39? Anywhere in hell.
38, 39.
Joe Joyce about 45. He about 45. So what's with this? Yo, bro, what's your thoughts on I just jumped in late. Derek Chisora versus Otto. So I'm assuming Jarrell Miller must be fighting someone else. Dylan White, maybe. That's a good fight.
I mean, he might fight Dillian White, but if he does, that's a crossroad. Both these fights would be crossroad fights, like White versus Miller. Either one of them loses, their career is over. At the top, at least. This fight right here, Otto Wallin, Chisora, their career is over, at least at the top. I like this fight because I want to see Chisora come again. Because Chisora, despite all his losses, always finds his way back into the top 10 global rankings. Like clockwork. Like this dude has remained a top 10 fighter for so long throughout his entire career. It's crazy.
Wallin still has some local BS fights. Wallin go fight someone like Charles Martin in some Holiday Inn. Can you believe Charles Martin fought in like a Holiday Inn last weekend? Was it yesterday?
I didn't even see it.
Bro, yeah, he fought. He had a fight. He knocked someone out in like a Holiday Inn conference room. No joke. I was sitting
Charles
watching this
Martin is
fight.
such a fucking waste. That dude is a waste of every ability he could
And
have
he's
had with
talented too, man. He's a
inactivity.
talented dude. He's a real talented guy.
Yeah, but he ruined himself with inactivity. Like he lost to AJ, went on hiatus, got shot, comes back, goes on a hiatus, comes back. Like this dude has so much inactivity, it's insane.
Well, you know what happened to him? I'm not gonna blame him. Well, I guess I can't blame him for it. The same thing that happened to Andrew Ruiz. Well, actually, it's happened to Andrew Ruiz now. This time I'll give Bob Arum credit, because Bob Arum said this about Andrew Ruiz years ago, and we've seen fighters like this before. Bob said, people call me stingy or a bad promoter or Don King like, but promoters, we know some of these fighters intimately. Okay, we know who they are in their personal lives, and I know if I give this MFer Andrew Ruiz $4 or $5 million, I know I'm not going to see him for 18 months. I know that. But if I give him $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, I know he'll blow that in 6 months, and he'll be coming back asking me to fight again in 6 or 7 months. So I spoon feed him money, because it's almost like a crackhead. If you give them too much, they'll crash out. And not saying Charles Martin crashed out, but he's a guy that I tell you, I explain this a lot about a lot of basketball players too. I said, listen, man, a lot of you fans don't understand this, the NBA fans. Not everyone in the NBA loves playing basketball. So you got to be very careful about who you get the max contracts to. They're like, are you crazy, man? I said, no, I'm not. You got to think, to get to that level, these guys have been playing at a high level since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. So by the time they're in the NBA, they've been doing this for 20-some years. You give a guy like that 20, 30, 40, 50, $80 million, they're like, man, please. And we see this in boxing with Charles Martin. Charles Martin got that $8 million from Eddie Hearn to buy his belt. He said, I'm good. And as long as he took care of himself, took care of his money, he's right. He is good. So that's what happens to guys like Charles Martin and Ruiz. Their inactivity is rooted. Once you take a guy, no matter how talented he is, if he doesn't love boxing, you give him a big 7-figure payday, you're not going to see him for a while. You're not going to see him for a while. So that's why I understand some guys like Don King or Bob Arum. They say, listen, I know you guys say I'm being unfair, but you guys like watching him fight, right? If I give him $5 million, you're not going to see him for 2 years, period. That's who he is. I know him. So that's why I'm going to give him $500,000, $800,000, because he'll blow it in 6 months, and he'll be right back to me, and he'll be right back on you guys' TV fighting again. So I understand that aspect with some fighters, because these promoters, they know the fighters that are going to do that. You feel me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with it.
Oh, me either. I think it's messed up. You got to give the guy's money and let him do what he wants to do. But I do understand why they do it.
Maximize your value every fight. I don't like seeing the fighter get ripped off, even if they do blow all their money.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Kind of like drip feed them like Al Heyman did Adrian Broner.
Yeah, right.
But again, it is what it is. It's a waste of ability. And I will say this. I said this whenever I watched the AJ Martin fight. I felt like they prematurely stopped that fight. Now, I'm not saying Charles Martin would have won the fight, but he wasn't even knocked out or knocked silly, because if you see him whenever he gets knocked down that last time, he like slams his hand against the mat. Like, how am I keeping it up here? And he was going to get up. He wasn't like wobbly. He wasn't dazed. I felt like it could have kept going.
Two things. One, Charles Martin was the champion. And we always know the referee is supposed to give deference to the champion, right? Like, give him more chances than the other guy. He's a champion. He was a champion. Go look at AJ, who was not the champion, and the number of times the ref could have stopped that fight versus Daniel Dubois. He could have stopped that fight twice.
Oh, yeah.
He could have stopped that fight twice.
Oh, yeah. Even against Eddie Ruiz.
The second time AJ went down, he got up. I mean, dude, he was running around, stumbling around the ring like he was dead on his feet. He was out on his feet.
But see, the thing about Anthony Joshua, and I've got videos from years ago. I've always said it. He freezes up. He's like a turtle in a shell, and he doesn't throw back if you swarm him. And that's what they worked on with Dubois. They knew if they pressured him, he wouldn't let his hands go, and he didn't.
Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to think of an AJ fight I've seen where he really fought well on the back foot. People will say that
No.
Andy Ruiz second fight, but I'll tell people, dude, Andy didn't pressure him. He was too fat. He couldn't move. Andy stood in one spot that whole fight, and AJ just circled him.
Yeah, he was too slow. He was too out of shape.
Yeah, it's like he fought. I said, that's not really a back foot fight. That's circling a blob in the center of the ring, just turning in circles.
Yeah, he was just hitting a puncher bag.
Yeah, it was a puncher bag. When Andy could move, Andy was cutting the ring off.
I've seen puncher bags swing with more movement than Ruiz had in that fight.
And the thing, bro, the condition that Andy Ruiz came in that fight, and for AJ to go 12 rounds with that's when I knew. I said, yeah, he's the same. Like everyone applauded that. Oh my God, I was so impressed. I said, I won't. If Andy Ruiz came in good shape in that fight and trained, and AJ won the exact same way, I would give him so much credit. But when I saw Andy at the weigh-in, I said, bro, AJ better get him out of there in 4-5 rounds. He's here for a check. He's here for a check.
Here's the deal. Mm-hmm. With Anthony Joshua, whenever I saw that fight, I was very critical because right after the fight, I made a video and I said, I do not like this little AJ, because that's whenever he took off all his weight. And I was like, if you watch the first fight, the first solid shot he landed on Ruiz, he was on his ass.
Yeah, he was. It was a check left hook. Yeah.
But in that fight, he had like you said, a sitting still target and couldn't even hurt him.
Yeah.
And I was
you talking about the second or the first fight?
No, the second fight. In the second fight, he could not hurt Ruiz.
Yeah, you're right. Ruiz wasn't moving. He couldn't hurt him.
Right. He hit him all night long, and he couldn't hurt him. And that's when I knew. I made a video. I was like, yo, AJ is useless with no weight. He needs his weight or he's got no power. So you have two different things. You have some people who are born with power. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't matter if you're 110 pounds or 210 pounds or 310 pounds. You're still going to hit hard. You're going to crack. Then there's other people who have to build their power. They do that off of size and strength, the way they train. And that's what AJ was. He needed the weights. He needed the strength to be able to knock people out. The minute he got a
lot of torque in his hips, so he really turned his hips on over top of his shots. Well, he used to.
But the minute he put his weight back on, he started getting knockouts again. The only difference here is against Triple D, he looked scared from round one. What's going on?
I will say this now,
if you want to.
Daniel can punch, and Daniel's always been a big puncher. Always, he's always been a big puncher. I've always rated Daniel as a puncher. I've always said Daniel, even when he was. Even before the George Joyce fight, when I was watching him to come up, I said, look, that young MF, that boy can punch.
A fighter like Triple D should never beat a fighter like AJ. Should never be able to beat a fighter like AJ.
Yeah.
He is not skilled. Yes, he's got a hard punch, but he's not skilled. He's not a skillful fighter.
He's gotten better.
He's gotten a little bit better, but I mean,
for me, the most impressive I've seen Dubois was actually the Hrgovic fight, just because he couldn't land his right hand. He was getting touched up, and Don told him to double up his jab, and that will allow Hrgovic to stay still basically for the right hand, and it worked. He did it. He listened to him.
But the thing about Hrgovic has been looking like shit for the last 5 fights. Every fight he's looked worse than the last fight.
Yeah, but listen, I wasn't one of them, but almost everyone picked Hrgovic to beat Daniel.
I picked Triple D.
You did. Yeah, you picked him. I'm just saying that a lot of people run the narrative of the Jarrell Miller. Everyone said Miller was going to beat Daniel Dubois. Right. And then not you per se, but a lot of people said this, right? Then when Daniel beat him, Miller's a bum. Like, come on, man, let's not do that. Like, you didn't say he was a bum before he beat him.
Well, the problem with Miller is it's hard to know what he is without the juice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, listen, here's the thing. He's fighting on Saudi cars now. You and I both know they don't care about that.
Well, I don't know. We got to see if he does testing for big fights. But my thing is this with Jarrell,
they ain't testing them niggas.
But if you fight somebody like Usyk or Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua,
they're gonna test him. Yeah, they're gonna test him. Yeah,
and that's gonna be the problem. The minute he comes off the shit, he's gonna be shit.
I won't be surprised if they make him versus if Wilder's gonna fight. If Wilder's gonna fight again, which he says he is, There's no other fights out there for him at this point unless he fights White, Miller, or AJ or Andy Ruiz. That's the only fights he can make really make some money. So that would be an interesting fight.
You said Deontay Wilder?
Yeah.
Man, he's trying to fight Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's been saying. Here's the thing about Wilder. Wilder's not his own promoter. He's been saying he's gonna fight Francis Ngannou for 4 years, and it ain't happened. So I don't put credence in that at all.
If it does happen, Ngannou's gonna knock him the fuck out.
I can't pick that fight. I can't pick that fight.
I'm telling you right now, Ngannou will walk the fuck through him. And this is what me and you, we're gonna part ways and we're gonna separate like the seas. Like Wilder has never been good. His power was always overrated. He's not that guy. He doesn't hit that hard. Like I literally watched Deontay Wilder punch Charlie Z and not knock him out. Now we're talking about an internet troll that he went to a boxing ring.
I thought he was pulling punches on that dude.
Nah, he hit him while he was on the ground. That man was trying to knock him the fuck out.
We disagree. I think he got enough power in his right hand, or had. Actually, I don't think he has it anymore. Because one thing about me, unlike pretty much 99.9% of people you talk to about boxing, I'm not one of these people that power the last thing to go. He can be 67 years old. He can still punch. Sure, that's such a bunch of bullshit. So not true. I've seen so many fighters, especially, well, I'll put it this way, fighters whose power relies on speed. Roy Jones Jr., Wilder's one of them, a whole bunch of other guys. Maybe a little bit of Mike Tyson too. Those fighters that rely on speed and athleticism, and if you have it, there's nothing wrong with relying on it. That's what makes you money. Do your thing. Get your money, right? But the guys who rely on speed and athleticism, same in the NBA, when they get into their mid-late 30s, it's a wrap, buddy. Because that there's no such thing as a prime 36-year-old professional athlete in any sport. Because at 36, you're not the same as you were at 26. And people are prepared, and you see in boxing media all the time, well, he's a heavyweight, no, age don't matter. Yes, it does matter. It always matters. I'm not saying the only reason Wilder's losing a fight because he's old, but it's a major factor. And people gonna bring up the anomalies or the outliers. Well, George Foreman did this, that's fine. And I can name 25 other guys who were really good and they hit them late 30s and they weren't good. So for the most part, the thing about heavyweight, I'm sorry to cut you off. The thing about heavyweights is they can last longer than lightweights. Obviously, they don't have to cut weight. But lasting longer don't mean you have 40-year-old men out there who are the same physically as they were when they were 30. The human body doesn't even work that way.
Okay, but hear me out real fast. Okay?
Go ahead.
In Deontay Wilder's entire career, I'm talking about from the start to I thought it was finished, but now he's came back. He's had 48 fights, I believe, the same as
45,
Chisora, right?
46, something like that,
Yeah. In that entire career, these are the only top actual real fighters he's ever fought. Tyson Fury, he fought him 3 times. I thought he lost all 3 times, but he got a draw in the first one. Okay? The second time he fought Fury, they had to throw in a towel. The third time he fought Fury, everybody bitch, moan, complain about the towel coming in, so Fury slept that ass. Because that's what everybody wanted. They wanted to see him get slept, so he got slept. Then he comes in against another ex-champion and Joseph Parker. He didn't even hurt him. He didn't hurt him. He hit him cleanly more than once, and it didn't even make Parker blink. Parker has a tested chin. Then he gets in there with Zilly Zhang, who's even older than he is, and he didn't even hurt him. And he caught him clean. I'm telling you, this dude is like what his old promoter, Lou DiBella, said. He could make a ham sandwich a world champion, and that's what he did with Deontay Wilder. Had Deontay Wilder at 26, 27, 28 years old fought other top 5 competitors, his knockouts would have disappeared, and more than likely he would have been laying flat on his fucking back years ago. This dude is the most overhyped fighter there's ever been in the history of boxing. I'm sorry, Chevy, like, I don't care. Because you got to look at it like this. If you put the same quality of opposition that Wilder fought against AJ knocks them all out. If you put the same quality of opposition, let's go down a tier, against Dillian White, he knocks all of them out. If you put the same quality of opposition in there against a Povetkin, he knocks them all out. Klitschko knocks them all out. Every single fighter, Joseph Parker would knock them all out, and he ain't even a one-punch knockout artist. The quality of opposition that he fought, any of these dudes would have knocked out and had fucking high knockout ratios. But when you really see somebody's power, is when it's tested against world-class fighters who don't get knocked out. Can you knock out somebody who can't get knocked out? Now, real knockout artists can do that. I watched Mike Tyson knock out undefeated champions when he was only 21 years old. I watched George Foreman knock out people that had never been knocked out before. I watched Ernie Shavers knock out people who ain't never been knocked out before. I watched Ken Norton do the same thing. I watched even Muhammad Ali, who's not even regarded as a super hard power puncher. Even he can knock out guys who never got knocked out. The only difference is with this mythical power of Deontay Wilder, he's the only one that can never do it.
Tony, who did Mike Tyson knock out when he was 38 years old?
38?
Yeah.
His career was over by the time he was 38.
Hell, he still fought. He was still fighting.
No, not 38.
Yeah, he was. He fought Lance Lewis when he was 36, almost turned 37. My point is Mike Tyson, like almost everyone, I don't care who you are, when guys get old, it ain't the same no more. Wilder's old.
Mike Tyson.
He was 36 when he lost to Lance Lewis.
He's 58 years old right now, right?
He fought, 3 times after Lance Lewis lost, right? He fought 3 times. Lost all of them.
Yep. His last fight was in 2005. I'm looking at it now.
So he's like 37, 38 when we've had him fights. And he knocked nobody out. I'm just saying, them speed athletic guys.
He knocked a guy out. He knocked a guy out right after he fought Lewis.
You know what? I remember that. Who was that? I remember that fight. Who was that?
Clifford
Etienne, right? Etienne.
Yeah.
He was pretty good too. He was pretty good. That was solid fight. Well, me personally, I don't agree. I disagree with you, but I'm not going to argue your point because I still think it's all subjective. Because what way you rate someone, the way I rate someone is going to be different, and I'm not going to convince you otherwise, and vice versa. But I don't believe that 2018. I don't think 2018 Luis Ortiz would have lost to Anthony Joshua. I think he'd beat Anthony Joshua. I think he'd beat Dylan White too.
Yeah,
I don't even think Luis Ortiz is a world beater, but I think he'd beat AJ and White back then. He was on by his last year too. At that time in 2018, he was probably around 40, so he was past his prime. I mean, they list him at 37, 38. Then we all both know that wasn't the case. But yeah, I think that version of him, I know it would be Dylan. I think it really would be Dylan White. AJ 50-50 fight, and people say I'm crazy. Listen, AJ got put down and fight could have been stopped. Versus a 42-year-old Vlad that was retired for 2 years. So it's possible. It's possible.
I don't think Luis Ortiz was ever good.
Yeah, I know you don't.
The only people who think he's good are Deontay Wilder fans. Because without him, Deontay Wilder has nobody. That's what everybody leans on, is a guy who never beat he eventually fought Charles Martin. He beat Charles Martin even though he was losing the entire fight until he caught him. And that was against a Charles Martin who had already been defeated several times and was very inactive.
Well, who do you rate that AJ knocked out?
Who do I rate that? Well, I mean, he knocked out Klitschko.
Who's 42 years old.
He was 42 years old, and he was coming off of a loss to Tyson Fury.
And 2 years inactive.
You said what?
And 2 years.
Yeah, because he was waiting on.
But no, what? Here's the thing. You know what, though, Tony? I'm being a hypocrite because I can't dismiss that victory and then give Wilder props for knocking out a 40-year-old Ortiz. So you're right, it's valid. That's a good point.
And
I do think that 41 or 42-year-old Klitschko was better than 41, 42-year-old Ortiz.
Is he also knocked out? You could call him old, but he knocked out Pulev before Pulev went on losses.
Pulev was 40 years old.
I understand that, but here's the thing about it. Everybody talked about Klitschko's era was the boring era of boxing, right?
Not to me. I love Klitschko.
No, I got you. But most people say it was the boring era of boxing, right?
I love it.
And they talk all this shit about how weak the competition was. But everybody from fucking Klitschko's era remained in the top 10.
Hey, I rate Klitschko highly. I never thought he was a boring fighter. And every time someone says that, bro, he got like fucking 40 knockouts. What are you talking about?
But my point is he stopped Povetkin and he also stopped Pulev. So
Pulev is trash to me. But you go ahead.
Well, he stopped Povetkin.
Povetkin to me, honestly, I've always said this. The Povetkin win was AJ's best performance, in my opinion, because I don't know what the cards were. Obviously, was complete BS. He was losing that fight. Okay, he was losing that fight. He almost got put down in the first round. He was losing that fight. I had him losing almost every single round. I think he won maybe the third or fourth before getting knocked on the fifth. But he was losing that fight every which way. He was getting beat up in that ring, and he was patient. He didn't panic. He waited, found the shot, and finished it. To me, that was the most impressive fight I've ever seen AJ have because he was losing that fight. And Povetkin was older, but he was 38, but 38-year-old heavyweight passed it, but not fully passed it. You know what I'm saying? So I actually
I
rated that
mean,
victory a
and
lot.
two, I can't really say he was past it because
I've never called a 38-year-old professional athlete in any sport
I
in their
understand it, but
prime.
my point is this: nobody had beat him since Klitschko. That was the only loss he had before he fought AJ was the Klitschko,
Yeah.
and he had beat every single person who got in front of him to that point. So
Well, I rate
while he
Povetkin.
may not have
I don't
been,
think it was a bum. I rate him.
yeah, while he may not have been 20 years old, but still beating an old Povetkin is better than anybody Deontay Wilder beat. Anybody.
I would say old Povetkin and old Ortiz about the same to me.
How? Povetkin actually has a good resume. Ortiz beat nobody.
Who did Povetkin beat?
Look, let's go down. Before we get into Povetkin, let's go down Ortiz. I'm gonna actually bring up Luis Ortiz. Let's go down his resume. Let's see what made him such a boogeyman.
He didn't beat nobody except for Charles Martin.
Well, but I mean, like I said, we already named that, and that was like way after Charles Martin. So let's see here.
We can't just say
I
Charles is
got you,
good
but
then and
let's
say
go
it's
from the
bad for us
bottom.
beat him because she was still young.
All right, here we go from the bottom. He beat Lamar Davis. Man, that's a killer right there.
Ortiz didn't beat nobody. I'm with you. He didn't beat nobody except Charles Martin. We can't give AJ credit for beating Charles Martin and then say he was a bum when Ortiz beat him. Only time it's okay to say that is if when the fighter is like exceptionally older. And he was like 35 or so, 36 when Ortiz beat him. So
all right, here we go. I'm gonna name some names that you would know. He beat Brian Jennings, which everybody has.
I remember that fight, yeah.
He beat Malik Scott, which everybody has.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he beat Christian Hammer, which everybody has.
You know what convinced me? I think
Charles Martin.
I think his resume is trash. But I'm not a resume guy. I don't care about fighters' resume because resumes. I'm with Ultra on that. I don't think resumes win fights. They don't really matter to me. I'll give you an example. Freaking Teofimo Lopez had no resume, and I picked him and I bet him to beat what's his name Lomo's ass, and he did. So everyone's like resume don't win no damn fight. If you don't have the right style versus your opponent, you know this, Tony, you're gonna probably lose.
I agree with you, but let's go through Povetkin's record. Are you ready? Because you said who did he beat? Because I know these, but we're gonna go in order. Okay. And I'm on because I don't know what their record was at the time that he fought them, right? So you ready? He beat Chris Bird, who I know you know who Chris Bird is. After that, he beat an undefeated Eddie Chambers. He gave him his first loss. Now, I'm going to jump up to go to another notable name. He beat, I can never say his last name. He beat Ruslan. I don't remember how to say his last name, even reading it, but he was a high competitor whenever Povetkin fought him. So he beat Ruslan. Then he, of course, he lost to Klitschko. But after that, he beat Char, which is a big name. He stopped Carlos Takam, which AJ got a gifted stoppage against him.
Takam.
Yeah. AJ didn't actually stop Takam. The punches weren't even landing whenever they waited.
I remember that fight. Yeah, Takam had some success. That was a BS matchroom paid off referee stoppage.
Right, but Povetkin actually stopped that ass.
Listen, I rate Povetkin. You convinced me.
Even we go into like the Deontay Wilder type wins, like he beat Duhaupas just like Deontay Wilder did, which everybody's beat him. He beat Christian Hammer, which everybody did. He beat David Price, who in the UK everybody's beat him. He was the one that really upset Huey Fury whenever he was coming. He got a draw with Michael Hunter. Now you could argue that he beat Hunter. You could argue that Hunter beat him. I feel like a draw was fair. if I was gonna edge it with either fighter, I thought, I don't know, because Hunter came on so strong at the end. It's a hard fight to judge. A draw may be best for that fight
You
because
talking about Povetkin Hunter fight?
yeah, he was
Brother, I watched
dominating
that fight.
early.
I watched that fight live. I thought it was a draw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I can see the argument for either fighter because early
who got the decision? Povetkin decision that fight?
No, it was a draw. It was a draw.
I thought it was the right decision.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is either fan can argue. I agree. I thought it was a draw too, but
it was a good fight. It was a real good fight.
That fight started off. It was 100% all Povetkin early. Then it looked like he got tired, and then Michael Hunter took over.
Them old legs.
Yeah, but after that, remember the knockout of the year? He slept Dillian White.
Woo, man, bro! I never
Dillian White was
out that fight, boy. Woo.
Remember, Dillian White at that time had been waiting like 1,000 days to fight Deontay Wilder.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
He was mandatory for over 3 years to Deontay Wilder, and his only loss was to AJ. And he got in there. He got caught with that uppercut, and it was the knockout of the year. And then, he lost to Dillian White and retired after that because he got stopped. But if you remember, though, and Dillian White's my dude, but if you remember, there's an asterisk next to it because he caught the virus prior to the fight. Povetkin did.
Bro, listen to me. Listen, no cap, bro. When I saw Povetkin, I remember me and Otto was joking about this. Walking out to the ring for that fight, bro, he looked sick. Like it was like, they almost wheel him out to that ring in a wheelchair. Round one, before White even landed shots, he was like stumbling. It was like Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul out there on like old stumbling legs. I was like, bro, what are we doing here? But
hey, let's speak on that. Let's speak on that Jake Paul fight.
Yeah,
staged or not staged?
Oh man, it's so tough, man. Here's the thing. People get on those clips about Mike Tyson throwing punches for 20 seconds, and I remind people those are 20-second clips. So if anyone's been in the ring, I've been in the ring, you've been in the ring. There's a big difference between throwing punches for 30 seconds to a bag and throwing punches to a person that's moving for 2 minutes. It's a long time. It's a whole long time. So in that regard, I just think that Mike was old. But when I look back at the replays, and just basically the first round, because we know, old or not, we knew that Mike Tyson, he did have 2 minutes of conditioning in him. But he had that, right? And when he had the 2 minutes, before the old age kicked in, pretty much at round 2, round 1, he just won't throwing punches. And I was like, what is this guy doing? Like Mike knows, we know, and his coach knows that after 1.5 rounds, that's it, right? So why in the hell are you throwing 5 or 6 punches in your small window? You feel me?
So here's what my counter to that's going to be.
Do you think it was staged?
No, I don't.
The only thing you did the age. It was the age.
I would say this. The only thing I think was staged about it was the fact that Jake Paul didn't want to knock him out. That's the only thing.
100%.
Because I think Jake could have knocked him the fuck out if he really wanted to. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Mm-hmm. And this is what I was telling everybody. And I'm going to invite you to do this to test what I'm about to say. Every promo clip they showed of Mike Tyson on the pads was from the same promos from 4 years earlier going into the Roy Jones fight. There wasn't one brand new clip of him doing sparring going into the Jake Paul. They were all rehashes from the Roy Jones fight 4 years prior. Every single one. On top of that, before the fight happened, they had the open workout. Did you see it? You still there? I don't know if you're talking or not. Chev, if you're talking, you're muted. Yeah, I definitely can't hear Chev if he's talking. But when you look at it, if you can hear me, when you look at the open sparring, dude, Tyson didn't even last 20 seconds on the pads, and he was moving like a turtle. Like, he didn't belong in a ring, period. And we've seen this before. We just saw this with Evander Holyfield whenever he fought that MMA dude, Belfort, and got stopped. I think Holyfield was 58 at the time, too. So, I don't know what people were thinking. They just hate Jake Paul so much that they think just Father Time's not real. I've actually been going back and forth with somebody I'm cool with on here who he believes that it was staged because he thinks that he can last with Jake Paul because he's 52 years old and he thinks that he's in better shape than he was in his 20s. And he's not. There ain't a human being alive unless you just sat on the couch eating potato chips your entire 20s and 30s where you're going to be in better shape at 50 something. You're not. There's no, and I'm going to consider boxing a speed sport. Mm-hmm. There's no sport that relies on speed and reflexes where you have a 58-year-old competing on any level.
I agree.
Not one.
None.
So you just got back, Chef. I don't know if you heard everything that I said.
Yeah, I did on my phone, but I turned up on my TV, so I heard you.
Okay, cool.
I'm with you on that, man. Look, it goes to what I said before. Listen, goes to what I said before. I'm talking about Wilder. Like, man, there's no such thing as a prime professional athlete in their late 30s in any sport because the human body does not it's not even about the performance. It's about your inability to recover from damage, your knees, your legs. No one's the same at 37 as they were at 27. Human anatomy doesn't work that way. And people keep going.
I'll have you know, Manny Pacquiao was the same through every fight until he fought Mayweather. For some reason, he just changed overnight. I don't know why that was.
Well, you know what's funny, man? I see this in basketball a lot, and I see it in NFL too. You see it in NFL as well, where usually guys they don't get old gradually. It's just one season.
Overnight.
Yeah, one season. Like, man, that guy's 36 years old, still dunking on cast and still averaging 30 points a game, 25 points a game. And all of a sudden, next season come in and he can't stay in front of nobody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they get old overnight, man. They get old overnight. Yeah, it's just the damage to the human body, man. The human body can still perform. You just can't recover. That's why I'm a Laker fan, and I didn't want LeBron. To come to the Lakers. I said, listen, man, he's going to be able to give in those 35, 40-point games, even in his old age. But NBA season is three games a week, man. So in the playoff series, he'll give you a great night, but on night number 2, when you're that old, you can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Look, LeBron ain't retiring for a long time. He got to stay in the game so his son doesn't get cut.
Oh, don't get me started, bro. I vowed to not watch any Laker games this year or any NBA games until his son's out the league. Because I followed that clown since he was 15 years old. He has no business in the NBA whatsoever. I don't blame him. It ain't him. It's LeBron. It's the NBA acquiescing to treat LeBron James like this is WWE. So for me as a Laker fan, when you guys decide that it's more important to be popular and sell a movie than win games, that's cool. I don't watch no more. So when y'all stop doing that, I'll come right back.
So I have a theory. I have a really good theory on why children of athletes are never as good as their parents.
It's probably the same as mine. Go ahead.
Huh?
I said I have one too, but go ahead.
It's because when these dudes get famous, they marry an unathletic pretty girl. Their moms are ugly as fuck, so they got all that athletic genes from their ugly ass mamas. But whenever they have a kid, they have it with a supermodel who can't do shit in sports, and that's why their kids are never good because they married a pretty mama.
I never thought about that angle too, but you're right. That's a good point too. I agree with all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me,
look at a lot of these athletes' moms.
For me, look for me. Hold on one second. What the fuck?
I don't mean to talk shit about nobody's mama, but most of the athletes' moms are ugly. Damn near like 99% of them. That's what it is.
No, yeah, I think that element, okay, 1 second.
You good. Take your time.
I think that element, well, hold on, man. 1 second. So I think that element and most of these athletes, especially the NBA too, they'll tell you they talk about how difficult it was for them coming up. And the reality is these same thing with rappers. That's why I made the cast make fun of Michael Irvin's son. Like the kids of these star athletes, and they didn't grow up like their dads did, right? They grew up in gay communities with rich kids in private schools. So they didn't grow up in no park or some hood gym when they was 13 years old playing basketball with grown men. That wasn't their track. So I think the upbringing for them through the sport they play is very difficult. The only time you get an exception is when that kid is just super, super, just raw talent, like Carmelo Anthony. His son's real good. His son's really talented. But for the most part, they don't grow up like their dads did. Their dads had hard. Their fathers were playing football and basketball with grown men since they was 12 and 13 years old, whereas these kids are playing academy sports. You feel me?
I mean, I hear you, and I've heard that argument. I don't per se agree with it because genetics is genetics, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't care. Like let's take an athlete, right? Who I believe pound for pound is probably, we go prime for prime, is probably a fighter that would never lose to anybody. If you could blow him up and shrink him down, and that's Roy Jones Jr. in his prime.
Yeah.
I don't think any fighter who's ever fought could beat him. I think Roy Jones was so fucking fast, God-given ability, that nobody's beating him. He's just the way that he moved, the speed and his reaction time is just
until
superhuman.
that old age, late 30s got after his ass. And we saw
Well, yeah, the old age and the blowing up in weight, coming down,
Yeah.
that saps your speed too. But my point is this: I don't care where Roy Jones came from. I don't care if he came from the richest neighborhood or the poorest neighborhood. He's still going to be that fast, and his reaction time is still going to be that good.
That's
So
true.
I don't really think where you come from dictates what you'll be. The only difference, I think, where you come from does is it gives you more opportunities. So what I mean by that is we may have never seen a Roy Jones Jr. ever enter the ring if he was from a rich neighborhood, because this man might be a CEO of a company. He might be a lawyer. He might have been a doctor. He might have been doing something else other than boxing because he had more doors that opened for him. You know what I mean?
Different environment. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. But I don't believe that your environment will make you better, because your genetics are going to be what your genetics are going to be.
Oh, no. I'm not saying the guys become or don't become because of their environment. I'm saying they develop a lot faster in difficult environments than they would when it's easier. It really depends. For me, it really depends on the sport and the position they play too. The sport and the position matters a lot. You get me a kid who's just a freak athlete, who is playing a lot of basketball or a lot of football, and he's playing versus some of the best kids. Like for basketball, for instance, the AAU circuit out west in California is trash. It's always been trash. When it comes to basketball on the East Coast, I mean, New York, New Jersey, Philly, the South, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, AAU basketball, the level of competition on the East Coast for the past 15, 20 years is elite. So when a kid's rated as like a top 20 guy, and he's from California, we all know like he's probably not that good. He's playing against a bunch of academy kids for the most part. He came over here and he put his ass into a New York AAU team in New York. He wouldn't be top 20. He would probably be top 80. You follow me?
Right.
So I think guys, when you got players that get into college, play college football or college basketball, if they grew up in a really, really, really talented market, they're ready to play a lot younger. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I could agree to that. I mean, iron sharpens iron. Steel
Yeah, they're
sharpens
ready to play
steel.
because
Like,
they've been playing against they've been playing lots of like grown men.
experience is going to build you, and the quicker you get that experience, the quicker you're going to get built.
And the academy
I
boys, they
agree
don't
with
get.
you there. I don't believe in the notion that just because somebody's from a bad area, that by default they'll be better than somebody from a good area. Because at the end of the day, it's the genetics that are going to take you the furthest. Like, you can have all the heart in the world, but that don't mean you could beat somebody in a race because you were born slower than them.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. People get mad at me when I say that. Like, listen, man, this is what I think. I've always, in my opinion, I think the NBA athletes are the probably, in my opinion, the greatest athletes in the world. I said just because my criteria is obviously different from everyone else's. I said you can almost find a guy, at least one or two guys probably, on every NBA roster that with a year of training could make a roster in the NFL or several
Nah,
other sports. Absolutely, absolutely,
nah.
absolutely, absolutely. I didn't say they'd be good. I didn't say they'd be a Pro Bowler. I didn't say. I got an example. I forgot who was it. I forgot. Anyway,
No,
Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward played NBA for 10 years. Charlie Ward could play in the NFL. He wouldn't have been a star, but he made a roster. There's no one in the NFL, I mean, no one that can make an NBA roster. Not a soul.
even if you take a guy like LeBron James, right? Do
Yeah.
you know how little he is compared to his
I
counterparts in
don't think I
football?
wouldn't. I wouldn't take LeBron James. I don't think
But
he
but
played in the
I'm
NFL.
just using him as an example because
That's a bad
people like
example. I wouldn't. See, but people think that it's like these fast, quick guards and wings they'll play in the NFL. I don't. For me, I'm talking about some of the big power forwards and centers that can make it. And I'm not saying even be good. I'm just saying make a 53-man roster on a practice team as a third string offensive lineman. Those are guys I think they can make it. I don't think some shooting guard like Russell Westbrook could play running back for the Raiders. Hell no. For me, it
every
would have to be a big guy.
every basketball player I've ever come across, they're
Mm-hmm.
all the same. They're weak as fuck. They're easy to move. They got no strength to them, and on a field, they would be very easy to knock over or bump through. Like they don't have no center of gravity. They don't have no balance. Like I don't know. Like I'm just speaking from like personal experience from like college sports to
Mm-hmm.
high school sports to middle school sports. I've never met kids who played basketball when I was a kid that I couldn't just body with ease because they just too fucking weak. It's the way they train. Like football training and basketball training are completely different. While y'all doing suicides in the gym, we over here putting on weight and getting big and strong, along with running self. I'll say on the heavier people, sub 4.640s. Like there's several people in the NFL who are 300 plus pounds and 6'8" that can run a 4.640. There ain't no basketball player that can handle that much weight or even deal with that much strength. And that's the difference to me.
No,
It's like
there's some niggas in the NBA that are that big. They're not all 6'8", 180 pounds. There's some big ass niggas in the NBA.
oh, they little. Who's the biggest NBA player? Like all of them are thin built.
No, they're not. Some niggas are massive.
Who?
I would go on the rock, but for me, there's a bunch of guys like Ronald Curry was the #1 basketball player and #1 quarterback in the country coming out of high school, football and basketball. Allen Iverson was #1 quarterback in the country. So there's a few exceptions. Julius Peppers was the #1 football. He's the one exception, the guy that because he played obviously basketball and football, but he one of the few guys that could have made it in the NBA. Not been a good player, but made a roster. But he a massive guy. Julius Peppers he's like you said, he was 6'6", 270 and ran a 4.5 40. So guys like that, great Julius Peppers. But guys like that, those are rare exceptions. You're right; those can crossover guys. But for the most part, I still think that there's a handful of guys that will have a shot to make an NFL roster. A practice team that will have a shot. Ain't nobody make no
I'm
NBA
asking
roster.
for like
None of them. None of them.
NBA players who went to football. What's one?
NBA players went to football. Or none.
Exactly.
And the counter is also true.
Well, I don't know. We
I do know there is none.
NFL players.
None. Not in the NBA, man. No. No. You know who had a chance?
Okay, here we go. Yep, there has been some. Bud Grant did it. Dave Winfield did it. Dave Logan did it. And there are zero professional NBA players who made it to the NFL.
Well, yeah, understand, Tony. They wouldn't do that because that would be a 10 times pay cut for them. So there's no point in doing that. You keep that in mind too. NFL players make 10 times less money. So no one's going to leave a contract where you're making $3, $4, $5, $10 million a year to make 900,000. That's because
Uh,
NBA contracts are guaranteed, NFLs are not. So that's why that transition, we're never going to see that. No one leaves a job, you making $5 million to be a backup offensive lineman and make 500,000.
so currently, the highest player in between the two, NFL pays more.
No, that's
Dak,
Tony. That's the extrapolation of a small sample size.
well, I
NFL
understand
contracts.
that. I'm just looking at
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, NFL
top
contracts are
end.
not guaranteed. Only guarantees are the signing bonuses. It's not even
We're,
close what NBA players
we're
make.
we're
Not even
talking about
close.
people with the ability to start, not people who are going to ride the bench.
Yeah,
So
starters. So
it,
the difference is an NBA player, say you take a linebacker, right? And he's on a $25 million contract, right? Only $10 million is guaranteed. That's his signing bonus. The other $15 million of his money, he doesn't get that money unless he plays all 16 games. He gets 500 yards. It's all incentive based. He has to hit marks on the contract to get the rest of the money. NBA, when you sign a deal for $25 million, you can show up every day. You can smash the owner's wife. You can crash the car into a building. They gotta pay you. Those contracts are guaranteed.
I don't know how true that is because I
Oh,
knew
I'm telling you, it's
personally.
true. I
No, no, no,
have
no,
friends that
no.
play the
Listen
NBA.
real
It's
fast.
true. That's the
I
contract. It's
knew.
100% guarantee.
Okay, I knew
Yeah.
personally
Yeah.
a guy named Steve McClellan who was on the Steelers team whenever they won the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and he got paid everything that he got paid while he was injured. He
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
play all
Listen,
16
I'm
games.
not saying NFL players don't make money. They make tons of
What I'm
money.
trying to tell you is he talked about it. Like they never cut his pay, even whenever he got injured and
Yeah.
couldn't play. There was no deduction.
Every NFL contract is different, and they all get paid differently. So every contract is going to be different, and some guys more than others.
I
My point,
just
I'm saying that the contracts in the NBA are guaranteed. It doesn't matter whether the team can cut you, and the next team that sign like if I sign you to as a New York Knicks, right? I sign you to New York Knicks to a $10 million deal, and I cut your ass next week because I don't like you. I catch you smoking weed, so I cut you. I can still got to pay you. Either I pay you or the next team that signs you, they have to pay you. NFL, when you get cut, that team only has to pay you the signing bonus. They don't got to pay the rest of the contract. So NFL players don't even make close to the same NBA. It's not even remarkably close.
I
And
don't.
you actually make more money all of them. It's MLB, NBA, and NFL is severely third.
I just when I look at the totality of it, NFL players normally have higher verts. You can do that off combines. Your top athletes have higher verts. They run way faster. They're way like to me, a football player is just a way better athlete than a basketball player. And people who play basketball, they play basketball, but they never make it in football. They would never make it. Like
They
even
wouldn't
just
try and make it. No one takes a job making less money. No one does in the universe.
their stature alone, they couldn't make it. The
Well, see,
way they're built.
we use two different criterias. That's why it's not making sense. My criteria is when a guy have a shot. No guy in the NFL has a shot to shoot a ball from 30 feet away from the 10 basket. That's
That's
why.
not true.
Yeah, that is true. No one put in NBA. No way. No way. No how.
So we just literally Googled this. We had 3 NFL players who started in the NFL make it to the NBA. There have been 0 NBA players. Now, regardless whether you say there's guys who don't make no money that are second, third string in the NBA who sit on the bench that will make way more money if they could start in the NFL. Not
That's
every
if
player.
no bench warmers in the NFL make $400,000 a year.
What I'm telling you though is a bench warmer in the NBA would make more money in the NFL as a starter. If they started in the NFL,
Depends. Well, two things. Depends on his position, and he don't know, and me and you don't know if he'd be a starter.
but that's
That's
my
a big
point.
risk to
They're
take.
not.
I wouldn't
They're
take that
not.
risk.
They're just
Would
not
you?
as. They're not as athletic. They're just not.
I think they are.
I don't see it. I see guys who are weaker, who are slower, who are smaller. That like when I visually look at it, I look at guys who are just physically weaker.
Well, the guards are definitely weaker.
All of them on the okay. Like I played football, right?
What position you play?
Running back.
Okay.
There's And I'm not even tall. I'm not even tall. I'm only 5'11", right under 6 foot.
That's perfect height for a running back.
Yeah, but I also weigh 250 plus pounds.
Was that your plan? Was that your playing weight?
No, whenever I played, I was around like 225, 230.
Okay, I got you. That's what I'm at right now.
But what I'm saying is that 5'11", even if you take me prime for prime, max speed for max speed, and also boxing and other stuff, but I'm just talking about just going straight off of football, right?
Yeah.
If you take me at 225, 230, as strong as I was as well still am, it's not comparable. I'm running every single person over on a basketball court. I don't care how tall they are because their weight's going to be marginally heavier than mine. Even a guy like LeBron James, who's 6'8", he only weighs like 260. He little as fuck.
Yeah, I agree with you. You can run them all. You can run them over all you want to. That don't imply you putting the ball in the basket. So basketball is not about strength and power. It's about skill. You got to be able to put the ball in the basket or stop someone from putting the ball in the basket. You can't do one of those two things at elite level. You can't play the NBA.
Well,
I agree with you. You would run LeBron James over, but you won't put the ball in the basket.
Well, here's the thing about it. I don't even know how good them NBA players are because they went to Rutgers Park and got their ass whooped by street ballers.
Trust me when I tell you this. Every nigga at the Rutgers wish they could play in the NBA. Them niggas can't because they can't play. There's a big difference between playing under a whistle. I played that part before. There's a big difference.
What you have to understand, Chef, is this. Not every motherfucker at Rutgers Park had the opportunity to go to college, didn't have the opportunity to be able to play pro. Just because you're playing pro doesn't mean you're the best player. There are people, it's just like I'll give you an example, right? Usain Bolt is the fastest human to ever run the 100-meter dash, but that don't mean he's the fastest human that ever lived.
Oh, I agree. I know you go. I know exactly where you're going with this, and I agree with that. We're only seeing the players that had the opportunity to get to that point. Yeah.
But my point is though is back in the early 2Ks when the NBA players came down to Rutgers Park, they got their ass ate. They got ate the fuck up. They got destroyed.
Yeah. Well, put them under a whistle in an NBA game, and they would get destroyed.
Maybe
playing
not.
under a whistle is totally different than playing that park.
I mean, I hear you, and people like
this different game.
Play difference, but at the end of the day,
I love Rutgers Park niggas. Them niggas can hoop.
What I'm gonna tell you though is, at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather Jr. ain't losing to some dude who boxes at the park.
Man, different sports, apples to oranges.
But what I'm saying is it's the same. It's apples to apples because they losing to other people who play basketball on a non-professional level. Floyd Mayweather Jr. ain't losing to nobody. Mike Tyson ain't losing to nobody. I'm talking about whenever they were still in their prime.
We also don't know how serious guys are playing those games. Those guys are worth millions of dollars. They can't get hurt out there playing at that park either.
I don't know, man.
You and I both know that. You can't get hurt.
You normally don't
judge how serious some guys are.
I'm just saying, you normally don't show up to lose. That's all I'm saying. Like
a lot of them don't care. Them niggas don't be caring.
I don't know, man.
Under the whistle is a different game.
Different game. I'm not saying. I think there's a lot of people in the NFL that could play basketball on an elite level if they wanted to.
What do you mean elite level?
Good enough to make an NBA team because it's
ain't no way
because they've already done it.
Ain't no way in hell.
They've already done it. We just read people that did it.
In our lifetime, who are these niggas?
You know what basketball players do? They try out for the NBL. They go play baseball because that's the only other sport they could play.
Yeah, because it makes a lot of money. More money than the NFL does. And NBA. Them niggas get paid.
Like I said, I can't see it. Like, they're too small. They're too little. They're too weak. Like, even your little small cornerbacks and your wide receivers are bigger than them. Whenever you do like weight to body ratio, like even the smallest, even the safeties are bigger than them.
When you keep talking about size and strength, has nothing. Look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't beat my ass, but you can't. But you can't. He can't beat yours either. But he would score 50 on you in 5 seconds. It's not
Well,
about size. I agree with you that these NFL players are bigger and stronger, but that don't mean you can score a basket on someone. Because NBA is not about size and strength.
well, here's the deal. Steph Curry will beat us all because we don't play basketball as much as he does. But I
You
will
can
tell
play
you
all
this.
you want to. You can't stay in front of them.
I tell you this. If it ain't with a fucking referee who blows the whistle at every little touch, because you know you can't touch nobody no more. I
Kyrie Irving,
guarantee
same
you.
thing. He'll fly
I
right by you.
guarantee you. I won't be able to beat him, but I guarantee you I can make a bucket on him because I just body his ass out the paint.
Now, if you get the ball first, you won't. He'll fly by you every single time.
I'll fucking bump his ass with my body and just knock him off balance and take the ball.
You won't. No, you won't get close to him too fast.
He ain't too fast. Look, no, I
That's
guarantee you.
Tony, that's called a foul. You can't. This ain't football. You can't make your own rules.
It's called a foul with a referee. If we playing like at the park,
they don't play park ball. They play the NBA.
Well, you know what? What they call fouls now? What they call fouls now were legal when Michael used to play.
Oh, I don't do the error. I don't do the error argument. I don't think any
No. I'm not using the error argument. What I'm saying is you can't even let the wind of your body touch them anymore, and it's a foul.
It was always like that. Michael Jordan shot a whole bunch of free throws. Look at the minimum free throws he shot. He shot a lot of free throws. A lot. Just means anybody else today. He shot a bunch of free throws.
All I know is I just find like I don't see it. I don't see it. Like these dudes are not fast runners. They're tall. Even for their height, they don't even jump that high. Like when you really look at like these dudes who are 6'8" to 7 foot tall, they barely getting over the rack.
Vince Carter don't jump that high.
Do you know how many guys I've seen that are 5'10" in the NFL dunk basketballs? That's way more.
Nate Robinson. You know what? Actually, Nate Robinson, he played a lot of football actually in college. He was pretty good. He was a corner.
Yeah, you had Nate Robinson. You know who also knocked him out? Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
I
do think Jake Paul fights are fixed, by the way. Even though I don't think the Mike Tyson one was.
Wait, what fight was fixed?
I think all his fights are fixed.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, every last one. Except I don't think the Tommy Fury fight was fixed, and I don't think Nate Robinson fight was fixed either. The rest of them absolutely fixed.
Do you realize if his fights were fixed, he could get arrested and go to jail?
Yeah, sure can. There's been fixed fights before. There's been fixed fights before we were alive. There'll be fixed fights after we're dead.
Yeah. They used to fix a fight here and there, not every fucking fight.
I didn't say every fight. I said Jake Paul.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. If Jake Paul fixed all of his fights, he would have been busted.
Yeah, no, well, plenty of people fixed fights before and it never got busted. Just like people robbed banks and never went to jail.
Those are off fights. That's a fight here, a fight there. Not every single fucking fight they ever were in.
I think all his fights are fixed.
I don't.
Well, not all of them. I just think some of them have been fixed.
You know what I wish Jake Paul would do? I wish Jake Paul would visit the YTBC and listen to people like you and me talk. And those who think he can't box, he called them the fuck out and bring them to the ring and knock them all out. And
well, Jake is professional trainer. He trains boxing every day. I'm pretty sure he would knock me out. He should knock me out.
But my point is this:
I'm not a professional fighter. He is, so he should knock out other professional fighters.
But why does he need to fix fights? Why is he spending all this money on his training just for the fights to be fixed?
No, to look good. You want to look good, know what you're doing. Listen, I think what's the one he fought? The MMA guy, what's the black dude knocked out?
He fought a bunch of them. He fought Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, the Woodley fight. Yeah, that's one thing was fixed. Absolutely, that was fixed.
No.
I think Woodley took a dive.
No.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of fixed fights. That guy that Luis Ortiz fought right after the second Wilder loss, I think it was. That was a fixed fight. Luis Ortiz barely touched him, and he went down to the ground.
Look, I'm gonna say this, Chev. Jake Paul beat Tommy Fury, and he lost. He beat him.
He lost.
He clearly beat him and got a loss. If there was any fixing going in, he wouldn't have lost that fight.
You know why he couldn't fix that fight? You know why? Because unlike Tyron Woodley, Tommy Fury ain't some broke ass nigga work at UPS. Okay, and you can't pay off Tommy Fury because Tommy's not broke. These retired MMA fighters, these dudes teach boxercise classes at YMCA for $35,000 a year. They broke. They gotta take money from Jake Paul. Tommy is rich, so he don't got. You can't bribe someone who's rich. They got money already. So why you can't bribe me? I'm rich already. So I'm not saying that automatically means it's fixed. I'm just saying that's why I think the Tommy Fury fight could not be fixed, because you can't bribe a rich man. He's rich. What's Tyrone Woodley? Man, the bank about to take his house and repossess his cars. He gonna do, and he should. If I was in his position, me right now, if Jake Paul came to me and said, "Take a dive, chef," I would jump off the ring and start convulsing on the ground for a check. But guys like Tommy Fury, they ain't gotta do that.
All I know is Tommy Fury had to pick himself up off the canvas.
It was a good fight, man. If someone thought Jake won, I don't think that's crazy. I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was a close fight. I had Tommy Fury win by a round.
Tommy was offered to run it back, and he didn't want to run it back. What
Yeah, hell no. Why? If he run it back, he'd probably lose. It was a close fight. He's too busy. Tommy's not serious about boxing, man. He's on Love Island and all that shit.
Well, he's fighting somebody. He got a fight coming up.
Yeah, he got. They think Darren Till, a former MMA guy. This weekend or something. Yeah.
I don't even know who that guy is. I just know his eyes are like super close.
Yeah, he's a former MMA guy, I do believe. So who knows, man? Tony, who's your NFL team? You're a football fan, right?
Well, my team is trash. It's always been trash. We had the most hype we ever had was whenever we had Vic. Outside of that, we just remained trash. And Matt Ryan was always trash.
Oh, you're a Falcons fan.
People boost this man up talking about Matty Ice. That motherfucker couldn't win a damn playoff game to save his life.
Man, Matt Ryan was solid, man.
Man, that man was good. He was like a Tony Romo.
I heard. I saw something the other day. I saw that they're doing a movie for Michael Vick. Let me tell you something, man. I say this to people all the time, right? I'm originally from Bad News, right? I'm gonna tell you something right now, bro, about Michael Vick. They low key. Michael Vick has one of the craziest sports stories ever. Like, this dude came from nothing, got it all, went to federal prison, lost it all, got out of federal prison, and got it all back again. That's like never happened in our lifetime to any professional athlete. So they show the guy who's going to play him in the movie coming up soon. I hope the movie keep it real, because Michael Vick, he did a book a few years ago about his autobiography about his life. And he was lying his ass off of the book about, he's just some. Vic was that dude. Like, Vic was a real ass street dude. Like, he's a real street nigga. But when he got into that book and he's working for these networks and he wanted these jobs in the NFL, he has to downplay who he was. And I hope they don't do that in the movie. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They try to make like he was some troubled teen and failing with the bad crowd. No, Mike was the bad crowd. You know what I'm saying? He was that dude you don't want to hang around.
I mean, outside of that, I feel like Michael Vick let the media ruin him.
Oh, bro! Oh my God, Tony! Let me tell you. Listen. What happened to him? I said, thank God. Like, I'm a Panthers fan, so it didn't happen to Cam Newton, right? Where I never forget it. When Michael Vick was a big star, and everyone started talking about, man, you know what, Michael? Yeah, I bet you can't be a pocket passer like Tom Brady. Nigga, you don't need to be a. And this is why I said when people start saying that, I agree with you. The media ruined him. Bro, you run a 4.340, Mike. Guess what? If Tom Brady ran a 4.340, he wouldn't be no pocket passer either. He don't run because he can't run. You run because you can. That's a part of your game. God, I'm with you on that, bro.
I agree.
You cannot let the media change how you play. If how you play makes you a star and makes your team win games, keep doing that.
I agree with you 100%, and you could tell because he was hesitating to run. I
was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, he just
bro, you running. Y'all won a road playoff game in Green Bay when Green Bay was Green Bay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No one went to Lambeau and won. You went and did that running. Like, bro, just run, man. And then a lot of these former quarterbacks, guys on television saying he'd be in the pocket. Bro, Vic, they jealous of you, dude. They can't do what you do. You know what I'm saying? You got more money than all of them did. You got a bigger contract than all of them did. I remember Trent Dilfer, punk ass. I can't stand Trent Dilfer. When Trent Dilfer was on ESPN, when Vic got out of prison, do you know this dude Trent Dilfer said? I never forget it. Live on air ESPN, he goes, "I'm telling you right now, as a former NFL quarterback, when you go away from the game for that long, Michael Vick, he's going to have to play wide receiver to prove himself back into the NFL." wide receiver. Shut your stupid ass up. And he came back and played with the Eagles and got another $100 million deal. Stupid bitch.
Yeah.
How you like that, motherfucker? That don't piss me off. I can't stand a jealous, hating ass nigga.
Yeah, but they hate on a lot of players because, like, in my
Anyone
opinion,
that can do something they can't do.
well, not just that, but they hated Tim Tebow out of sports. Like, they talk about he wasn't a good quarterback. Well, wait a minute. Before he took over the Broncos, them motherfuckers were like on a fucking 14-game losing streak, and he took them all the way to the fucking playoffs.
I can stand Tim Tebow. I can stand Tim Tebow.
But here's the thing about Tebow, though. He might not have won in the air. He might have won on the ground, but the motherfucker knew how to win. And the fact that he took a team that was in a 14-game deficit from the season before to the season he took over. I think they had lost like 5 or 6 in a row whenever he took over until their team to the damn playoffs.
I mean, he played well. He played well that year. He deserved to start.
That was the only year he played.
Yeah, he played well. Well, they had a bad coach. They had John Fox as their coach, and he was a terrible coach. People never factored in for these quarterbacks too, man. A lot of these quarterbacks are really good. They play for bad coaches. But you know, the NFL, the NFL recycles a bad coach because it's a good old boys club. If you know the owner, you'll get fired, and some other owner they'll hire you. It's
I mean, I hear you, but I feel like Tebow was never given a chance. You have arguably this is how I look at it. You have arguably the greatest college quarterback who ever played in college on your team that just took your shitty ass team to the playoffs after you was in a 14-game deficit.
It's tough. It's but not now because how the NFL's played, but 10, 15 years ago, you know this, Tony. The transition 10, 15 years ago from being a college quarterback to NFL was so different because basically NFL offenses did not run college schemes, but Michael Vick changed that. And we saw with Cam Newton do that. Cam Newton changed it as well, where NFL offenses start running college offenses, and it worked. But back then, if you were a great college quarterback, a lot of times it wouldn't transcend because NFL quarterbacks were running power eye. They were that same basic split back sets. They were running NFL offenses, and they would not because they thought that basically running read options would not work in the NFL. But Michael Vick and Cam Newton proved that shit does work in the NFL. We saw it work. So I think that teams were hesitant to give Tebow the chance because they were hell bent on, well, we can't run a college offense in the NFL. Why not? It's the same athletes. You get what I'm saying, Tommy?
Nah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's the same. Like them dudes in the NFL were the same guys that were at Alabama 4 or 5 years ago. It's the same athletes. If it worked back then, it'll work now.
Oh yeah,
I'm with you on that, brother. I'm with you. But yeah, Atlanta Falcons, man.
We've been live for like 100. I said 100. Wow, 100. What the fuck is wrong with me? We've been live for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, get out of here. I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. Eat some chicken, bro. Are you cooking, Tony?
Well, no, I didn't cook tonight.
I got you. You have a good holiday, bro.
Oh, you talking about for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, are you cooking?
Nah, I'm gonna go eat up people's food.
Yep, same here, brother. I'm gonna make one of my famous. I make a real crazy mashed potatoes. So I'm gonna make that, throw it into a bin in the morning, and take it over to some family house.
That's what's up.
All right, you have a good holiday, homie.
All right, you too, and I appreciate you hopping on.
Anytime, brother.
All right. And that ends this live stream. Y'all have a good night.